Japan's Shinzo Abe administration has failed to acknowledge a document proving the country's World War II-era sex slave program, drawing a backlash. Philippine President Benigno Aquino meets with President Park Geun-hye on a state visit to Korea. And it's oyster-picking season on the Korean southern coast, but farmers are concerned about falling demand due to radiation fears. Hello and welcome to News Today on KBS World. It's Friday, October 18th. I'm Luke Clary. A recently uncovered document proving Japan's sex slavery program during World War II has left the Shinzo Abe administration unfazed, drawing backlash from Japanese civic groups and politicians.
A Japanese civic group held a meeting concerning the Japanese Army's sex slavery controversy. Documents from an Indonesian court were recently disclosed proving that the Japanese Army had forced women into sexual slavery. The Abe administration was criticized for not acknowledging this. The Japanese Communist Party member Seiken Akamine decided to send a questionnaire to the Prime Minister.
収容された女性を軍人などが売春をさせる目的で慰安所に連行する行為は軍や関係によるいわゆる強制連行に当たらないという認識なんですか?
Some say the Kono statement was not sufficient enough an apology to the victims and that more sincere measures were needed.
被害者の方々は、それを受け入れなかった。で、そこのところはやはり事実認定のまだ不十分さがこの談話にあったのではないかと思っています。
Members of the meeting agreed that Tokyo must admit the historical facts and have decided to have politicians and civic groups cooperate in pressing the Abe administration.
Philippine President Benigno Aquino is on a state visit to Korea. In a summit with President Park Geun-hye, the leaders agreed to boost bilateral economic, cultural, and defense cooperation.
President Park Geun-hye and Philippine President Benigno Aquino III, her administration's first invited foreign leader to make a state visit to Korea, are greeted by the honor guards. The Philippines was the first country from the Association of Southeast Asian Nations that Korea forged diplomatic ties with. The ASEAN nation also fought alongside South Korea in the Korean War. In the summit meeting, President Park pitched her sales diplomacy but also stressed joint economic growth with the Philippines.
그래서 이번 대통령님의 국빈 방안을 통해서 양국이 더욱 견고한 그 상생 협력의 관계로 발전해 나갈 수 있기를 기대하고 있습니다.
The two leaders agreed to quickly conclude an export deal on Korea's light attack aircraft, the FA-50. The two sides will also discuss the export of Korean convoys. They also agreed to boost defense industry cooperation. Investment in the Philippines' emerging market by Korean businesses will be expanded, and investment conditions will be improved for Korean firms to take part in various infrastructure projects in the Southeast Asian nation. Considering the 1.3 million people-to-people exchange between the two countries each year, protection and support for each other's people will also be strengthened. The two sides signed a memorandum of understanding in defense and sports cooperation and also agreed that Korea provide loans from its Economic Development Cooperation Fund to Philippine disaster areas. The presidents also agreed to joint efforts on denuclearizing North Korea and inducing real change from the communist regime. Over a state dinner, they further boosted the mutual trust and friendship of the two traditional allies.
A group of Asian countries will establish a joint tax system to curb offshore tax evasion. Tax commissioners of 16 Asian nations announced the decision at a summit taking place in Jeju Island.
In Hong Kong, a city that's becoming Asia's financial hub along with Singapore, there's believed to be many bogus paper companies and overseas accounts owned by Koreans. But Korea's National Tax Service was limited in detecting offshore tax evasions to Hong Kong. This is because the two nations don't share a tax treaty. However, this may change in the near future.
We have completed the negotiation of double taxation agreement between Hong Kong and Korea in September. The agreement will likely take effect. We hope it will take effect early next year.
The tax chiefs of Korea, Hong Kong, and a total of 16 Asian countries have agreed to jointly respond to offshore tax dodging. Their gathering, known as the Study Group on Asian Tax Administration and Research, is being held in Korea's Jeju Island, and they've adopted the Skatar Declaration. Under the agreement, member nations will quickly respond to information requests from other countries and work to automatically share data on a regular basis in the near future. They will also actively respond to all sorts of tax evasions, which even include the underground economy.
We will continue to coordinate our actions under our strong cooperative network in order to address tax evasion and avoidance.
The tax chiefs also agreed to set up a working consultation body chaired by Korea to discuss details of their joint measures.
By-elections are just 2 weeks away and official campaigning has begun. Candidates representing ruling and opposition parties have launched their campaigns.
In Hwasong, Gyeonggi Province, on the first day of the official campaign period, Seo Chung-won, the Saenuri Party's candidate, pledged to advance the city's growth and urged voters for support. Meanwhile, Democratic Party candidate Oh Il-yong also asked for support, claiming that the current administration has deceived the people. Hong Sung-gyu of the Unified Progressive Party also ran his campaign in the city. Over in Pohang, North Gyeongsang Province, Saenuri Party candidate Park Myung-jae met with citizens at the fish market. Democratic Party candidate Ho Dae-man visited the traditional markets and asked for support. Unified Progressive Party candidate Park Shin-yong also met with voters. Leaders of the ruling and opposition parties supported their candidates in Pohang and Hwasong.
우리 포항은 대통령을 대선한 곳입니다.
잘못된 정권이다. 이 정권 반드시 심판해야 된다. 이렇게 생각하시면
The official campaigning period will continue for 13 days until the 29th.
The Korean military has announced a new interceptor missile, the Patriot Advanced Capability 3, or PAC-3, which promises a greater capacity to knock nuclear warhead missiles out of the sky.
The PAC, or PAC-2 missile, is an interceptor warhead that explodes near its target and destroys it using its shell fragments. But it's not able to fully take out missiles loaded with nuclear warheads. This is why the Korean military is seeking to adopt the PAC-3 that employs the hit-to-kill interception and directly strikes down the targets.
파편형도 요격 능력이 상당히 있습니다. 그러나 이제 완전히 파괴되지 않는 경우도 있어서 PAC-3를 도입하려고 결정을 했습니다.
In addition, the military is in the course of developing a missile that can reach higher than the PAC-3. A descending ballistic missile moves at over 2 kilometers per second, faster than the speed of sound. The PAC-3 can intercept this as high as 15 kilometers above ground. But rockets such as the mid- and long-range surface-to-air missiles that's being developed by the Korean military can travel higher to take down targets. The only issue is that it will take 10 years to actually deploy them. Seoul could consider purchasing the Standard Missile 3 or the Terminal High Altitude Area Defense from the U.S., but this was excluded for fears of inciting controversy over becoming incorporated into the U.S. missile defense system. For now, the military believes the best option is a joint Korean and U.S. customized deterrence strategy. The military says more important is the ability to first detect signs of an enemy attack and deter it, and also says it will prioritize on projects regarding preemptive measures.
It's oyster picking season on the Korean southern coast, but farmers are concerned about falling demand due to radiation fears.
This is an oyster farm in the southern coast of Korea. Oysters fresh out from the sea are washed and packed in sacks. Fishermen are excited about the new oyster season.
짝하고 비율이 좀 좋은 편인데 그 서쪽 바다는 많이 좀 배사가 많이 나고 동쪽으로는 괜찮고 이렇거든요. 근데 짝하가 뭐 경연작입니다, 제가 볼 적에.
Thousands of residents work here shucking oysters. As just seen here, oyster season has just begun and the oyster industry is quite busy. The concerns are rising because of the dropping consumption of seafood due to the fears of radiation contamination. On the day's first auction, buyers are hesitant. The decrease of demand has lowered the price by about 30% from last year's to about $4.70 per kilogram. Authorities say the oysters are safe from radiation as they're grown in waters off of Korea's coasts. Radiation tests are also conducted to mitigate the consumers' concerns.
남해안에 고정적으로 되어 있는 배류입니다. 그렇기 때문에 방사능하고는 무관하기 때문에 우리 국민과 소비자들이 마음 놓고 접수셔도 됩니다.
Following the halt of exports to the U.S. due to the norovirus last year, the nation's oyster farms are facing yet another crisis.
A green sea turtle who goes by the name of Dongbugi has returned to the sea after being rescued last year in waters off Goje Island. Meanwhile, researchers here continue sea turtle preservation efforts.
Dongbugi is a green sea turtle that was rescued in June last year from a fishing net in waters off Goje Island, South Gyeongsang Province. The animal underwent medical treatment and since has grown to 80 centimeters in length and weighs 60 kilograms. Now it's ready to return to the wild with a small satellite tracking device attached to its back.
어디로 이동하는지, 어디에 분포하는지, 그리고 언제 돌아오는지 하는 사항들 알므로써 바다 보호 정책에 많은 도움이 될 거라고 생각됩니다.
Dongbugi slowly approached the sea for the first time in a year and 4 months. It headed to the waters off Jeju Island, Japan, and southern China. These hawksbill sea turtles were brought from Nagoya, Japan, to study how they breed. There are only some 6,000 female hawksbills worldwide that can lay eggs. This species is known to take about 5 years to mature indoors. Breeding might be possible for them within a few years.
In show business, the singer Nami has released her first new album in 17 years. Meanwhile, child actress Kao So-won has been nominated for Best New Leading Actress at the Daejeon Film Awards.
Singer Nami is back after a 17-year hiatus. She released her new album for the first time since the release of her song Persuasion in 1996. She's to film a music video in the U.S. this month and release a digital single next month. Nami debuted at the age of 6 at the 8th U.S. Army and has released many hits, such as Eternal Friend and Like an Indian Doll. Korean singers will hold a concert to mark the 23rd anniversary of late singer Kim Hyun-sik's death. The concert will be held on November 1st and 2nd at the KBS Hall in Busan. Included in the lineup are Shincheon Blues, Hwan In-ha, and Jajanggo Tan Pungyung. The musicians will be paying tribute to the late singer with a nationwide tour. Child actress Kao So-won, who appeared in the movie Miracle in Cell No. 7, has been nominated for Best Leading Actress and Best New Actress at the Daejeon Film Awards. The 8-year-old actress will be competing for the prestigious award with big names such as Yoon Ye-jung, Jang Young-nam, Jong-hwa, and Moon Jung-hee. The Daejeon Film Festival is to take place on November 1st at the KBS Hall in Seoul. It'll be broadcast live on KBS TV2.
It seems like everybody has a smartphone these days, but did you know that they can cause some minor health problems? Look out for these common smartphone side effects. Smartphone screens are almost always smeared with fingerprints. When you hold your phone against your face, you may put yourself at risk of skin infections. We compared the bacteria found on a smartphone taken into the bathroom with the bacteria found in a toilet bowl. There were 30 times more bacteria on the smartphone than the toilet. This explains how smartphones can cause skin problems.
또 스마트폰 자체의 어떤 세균이라든지 그런 것들이 많이 존재하기 때문에 그런 것들이 이제 피부에 반복해서 자주 이렇게 접촉하게 되면 피부에 어떤 감염이라든지 여드름 같은 것들이 잘 발생할 수 있습니다.
Squinting at small text on the screen can give you wrinkles and cause dark circles to form. Holding your head down to look into the screen can also cause lines to form on your neck. These side effects have given birth to the term smartphone face.
게임을 하게 되는데 게임 지거나 하면 인상을 쓰게 돼가지고 미간에 주름이 많이 생기게 되는 것 같아요.
Chae Eun-ju watches a lot of videos on her smartphone. She says her eyes feel strained when she looks into the screen.
평소 출퇴근할 때 스마트폰을 많이 이용하고요. 동영상도 좀 다운받아서 보고 뭐 어디 찾아갈 적에 그럴 때도 이용을 하기도 하고 눈이 피로하고 아파서 참다가 병원에 오게 됐어요.
Watching videos on your phone actually causes people to blink less often. Normally people blink about 12 times per minute, but when on a smartphone that drops to just 6 times a minute.
스마트폰을 볼 때도 30cm 이상 떨어져서 적당한 거리를 유지하고 또 의도적으로 좀 깜빡이면 횟수를 좀 증가시키고 그래도 눈이 좀 건조하고 피로하게 될 경우에는 인공누액을 사용하는 것이 도움이 됩니다.
The excessive use of smartphones can also cause joint problems. Shim Hae-min, who's still in his 20s, says his wrist has been bothering him lately.
태블릿 PC나 스마트폰이나 이런 걸 더 많이 쓰면서 손목 부분에 이게 잘 안 움직여지고 이게 통증이 오고 저리고 이런 게 있더라고요.
Most users type on the keypad with their thumbs, but to do so you have to contort your wrists, which can cause carpal tunnel syndrome. Keeping your head down looking into your smartphone for long hours can lead to a forward head posture. Wrist and spinal pain can be relieved and prevented by correcting your posture and stretching your body frequently. As for preventing skin problems, using earphones when you're talking on the phone, wiping the screen with a wet tissue, or using a smartphone cover can help. Smartphones enrich our lives, but can also cause harm to health. Smarten up on how you use your device for best results. And now we'll take a look at the markets, followed by the world weather. And that's it for this edition of News Today. We'll see you at the same time on Monday. Have a great weekend.